Welcome to Fetts Legacy, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 6, as well as the season as a whole, some of my thoughts on it, and I also want to talk about some of the new reveals from Star Wars Celebration 2023, and what I think Disney is going to do with these new projects, how they're going to handle them. But guys, before we get into that, I just want to say a quick thank you for all the support. We have finally hit 500 subscribers. I really do appreciate everything that you guys have done to help this channel grow, and because of that I have started a new giveaway. The link will be in the description below. There are many ways to get more chances to win a gift card. There will be 2 Amazon gift cards for $25 up for grabs, so definitely check out the giveaway if you have a chance and look at getting into those multiple entries to give yourself the best chance at winning. But guys, let's get straight into the video. So the main point of this video was actually to discuss Mandalorian Season 3, some of my thoughts on it, and why I think it's actually been quite a disappointing season so far. But I also just wanted to talk about some of the new reveals at Star Wars Celebration, because it kind of goes hand in hand with how I think Disney is handling Star Wars right now and what they're doing and what I'm skeptical of and just hoping that they might fix. But going on to Mandalorian Season 3, so the ratings for Mando Season 3 are lower than the previous 2 seasons. So it's recently been reported that the total minutes viewed dropped by 200 million, representing a decline of about 20 to 25% compared to Mandalorian Season 2. Now, there could definitely be a few different reasons for why this is happening to Mandalorian Season 3. I do think that the major talking point has to be the delay between Season 2 and 3. You know, hype was never bigger for The Mandalorian than right after Mandalorian Season 2, after Luke just showed up, we got Ahsoka, Boba Fett, you know, they had just mentioned Thrawn. Like, the season was incredible and the ratings were higher than ever, and it brought a lot of people back to Star Wars. A lot of people were happy. But then to go 2 full years without a Mandalorian season, and obviously you got the Book of Boba Fett in between, which also had like a part of the Mandalorian story, but you can't expect people to watch a whole different show to keep up with the Mandalorian. I think people were confused from the trailers, and I just think that overall it was too long of a wait. And I know obviously there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes with Jon Favreau and Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Chapek. I did make a video discussing what was going on behind the scenes and how that was really affecting the production of the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorian. If you guys are interested in learning more about that, I'll leave it in the time card and I'll put it in the description below. But basically in that video, there were some turmoil behind the scenes with Kathleen Kennedy and Jon Favreau on the Book of Boba Fett, some executive producing decisions, and not just Book of Boba Fett, but Mandalorian, the story as a whole, and Kathleen Kennedy basically inserting herself into every decision that had to be made. So it was really messing up the timeline for Jon Favreau and his plans for Mandalorian Season 3, as well as the Book of Boba Fett. So I definitely do understand the delay between Mandalorian Season 2 and 3, but I do think that really affected fans' hype for the next season. I feel like if they released it, you know, just a year later, then I feel like the ratings for Mandalorian Season 3 would be a lot higher, doing a lot better. But I personally also feel like this season just hasn't had a lot going on. It hasn't been as interesting as previous seasons. Even the first season I thought was very interesting. Maybe that's just because the first time we're, you know, meeting Din Djarin and Grogu and all these characters. But I just feel like this season has been kind of boring at a lot of points, and like they're moving too slow. Like the fact that we are 6 episodes in and we're only where we are at right now, I definitely think that we should be further ahead as of right now. I feel like we should have seen Moff Gideon already. After 6 episodes, to not even see Moff Gideon is just a little insane to me. I definitely think we should have seen him by now, maybe even Thrawn. I know that, you know, they're showing him in Ahsoka, and we'll talk about that later, but you know, I just feel like a lot of episodes have had quite a lot of filler. I felt like, you know, Episode 3, you know, the whole thing with Dr. Pershing, I understand why they did it. They're trying to build up Moff Gideon again, and Thrawn, I guess, eventually. But I just felt like that was dragged on way too long. We should have seen what we just saw with, you know, the Moff Gideon escape in Episode 5. Probably should have been in Episode 3. You know, the whole thing with Bo Katan now getting the Darksaber in Episode 6. Like, I also feel like that should have happened earlier on in the season. I feel like a lot of things that are happening currently should have happened earlier on in the season. Remove out some of the filler and, like, let's get straight down to the point, you know what I mean? Like, let's get to Mandalore. Let's get Bo Katan. Clearly, they're building Bo Katan up to be the ruler of Mandalore again. So, you know, let's get her the Darksaber earlier on. Show her using it more. We haven't really had anything happen with the Mythosaur since the second episode. I do think eventually that's going to happen. She's going to go and ride the Mythosaur and tame it, probably in the next 2 episodes, but we just don't really know what's going on. Like, everything's just kind of moving so slow, and I felt like the last episode, episode 6, besides the ending, it was pretty much all filler, and the ending could have been done in, like, episode 3. I feel like episode 6 to be filler out of an 8-episode series is just kind of crazy to me. The whole Lizzo and Jack Black kind of side plot going on where the droids are malfunctioning, and I just felt like, it wasn't bad to watch. It was just like, this has no meaning to their overarching story, and if that was like an episode in like the second episode of this season, then I would understand. But this is the 6th episode of the season now. Like, we got 2 episodes left, and then we gotta wait another 1-2 years before Mandalorian season 4. Like, you're just gonna kill the entire hype around the show. And also, I just think like making this entire show almost about Bo Katan is kind of killing it for some people. A lot of people love Din and Grogu, and that's why a lot of the newer fans are even Star Wars fans to begin with, Din and Grogu. So when you kind of completely remove Din and Grogu from their own show, and not saying that they've been completely removed, not like Boba Fett in episode 5 of the Book of Boba Fett where he just didn't even show up. Din and Grogu are still there, but like almost no episodes have been really about them except for like the first 2. The entire rest of the season has been basically a Bo-Katan show, and I'm just sitting here thinking like, why don't we just give Bo-Katan her own show then? I just don't understand why it's basically just been all about Bo-Katan, and a lot of it has been filler, and it's like for a 2-year wait for Mandalorian season 3, personally my expectations were a little bit higher. I'm not sure about some other people and what they were expecting from the season, but this has definitely not gone according to what I thought we were going to get. I thought now that Jon Favreau had a lot more reins over it and Kathleen Kennedy couldn't really, make any more decisions, that, Jon Favreau would make something great and this would be, what we've been waiting for, and it would be very hype, but it's just been kind of lackluster so far. I'm not saying that it's been bad. There's been really good moments. There's been some really good episodes, and I also think, the action and, where they're taking it is still pretty cool. I still enjoy the show. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've been enjoying Mandalorian season 3. I just think compared to the other 2 seasons, it's a bit of a letdown. And honestly, personally, if you're asking me, I would say the Book of Boba Fett so far has been better than Mandalorian season 3. But, a lot of people would disagree with me on that. But I just felt like there was more going on in the Book of Boba Fett. I thought his story was more intriguing. And I mean, even with the 2 episodes that were dedicated to Mando, I still feel like the story was more about Boba Fett than this story has been about Din Djarin and Grogu. This story has been pretty much all about Bo-Katan, and maybe that'll change in the next 2 episodes. We do know Boba Fett is supposed to come in at some point. The director for the last 2 episodes was actually just talking about Boba Fett and a resurgence of the Book of Boba Fett and season 3 of The Mandalorian, and he's going to be showing up basically, so he'll be showing up. I thought he probably would have, shown up earlier, but we're just getting him now. We also have Moff Gideon to still come in, and there's only 2 episodes left, so I just feel like they've been leaving everything so late in the season to really get going and really show us, like, some really cool stuff. But, obviously, I think that Mandalorian season 3, just could be a little bit better, and that's kind of why ratings are down. But, it also just comes down to a really long wait. So hopefully things pick up for The Mandalorian in the last 2 episodes. I'm just not really sure where they're going to take it from here. Obviously Bo-Katan is probably going to go back to leading Mandalore, but we still got to see what's going on with Moff Gideon. He's just been kind of talked about, and they've been kind of building him up all season. Like, he wasn't the villain for the past 2 seasons already. Like, we know who Moff Gideon is. You don't got to build him up for 6 episodes. Like, come on. Like, let's see Moff Gideon. What is he doing? Where is he? We've just been talking about him, and, they're giving us hints that he's escaped and stuff, and it's going on too long. I feel like after episode 5, after, basically showing us that he has escaped, I feel like episode 6 should follow up on that immediately, and we should see Moff Gideon at least once, something to show what he's up to, where he's at, what he has, something with Moff Gideon. The fact we didn't even see him at all is just quite shocking to me, especially after episode 5. They just revealed that Moff Gideon is back and he escaped, and they've been building him up since episode 3 and all of this stuff going on. I just feel like, it's a bit too slow, and I definitely want to see Moff Gideon, and whatever they're doing for the overarching story with Thrawn. He'll probably show up sometime towards the end, I hope, at least. I feel like we should see, maybe a little bit of Thrawn at the end of Mandalorian Season 3 to kind of build up the hype for Ahsoka and kind of show us Thrawn. But at this rate, we won't even see Thrawn because we haven't even seen Moff Gideon. So I'm not really sure how they're going to do it. Maybe they'll show us Moff Gideon and he's working under Thrawn, who is, trying to rebuild the Empire. And, we saw in the Ahsoka trailer that released at Star Wars Celebration, they call him the heir to the Empire, which is definitely a fitting title. And, he's definitely the smartest person in the entire Empire that is still alive, at least. And, he's definitely a formidable foe. I'm very excited to see where this goes. I think, they did talk about a new movie coming with Jon Favreau having to deal with all the Mandalorians and, Boba Fett and Thrawn and all of that stuff. So I definitely think that that's what they're building Thrawn up to. And so I'm definitely excited to see where that's going. I'm just, I'm kind of skeptical about how they're moving right now, how slow they're going. Maybe this is all just to build up hype for the movie, which I'm not sure when it's coming out, but that will be exciting. Many people will go to see that, and it could be one of the best Disney Star Wars movies ever, depending on how they handle it. But my faith in Disney Star Wars is, diminishing by the second. It gets worse every day. I feel like they're constantly letting fans down, going back on promises, and under-delivering on, some of their most important series, episodes, movies. I feel like they just continue to under-deliver and over-promise, and I feel like that has brought Star Wars to a place now where, fans are skeptical about anything that they release. Back in the day, if they were talking about all these new movies and shows at Star Wars Celebration, many people would be extremely ecstatic, super happy. And I'm not saying people aren't ecstatic and optimistic, but everyone kind of also has it in the back of their mind, like, okay, don't get your hopes up too much because Disney have messed this up before. They've messed up easier things before. And, something like Kenobi, I felt was like almost impossible to mess up, and they still found a way in certain areas. I still liked the show, but there were still, problems with it. And I thought there's no way they can mess that up, and they still did, right? So it kind of gets to the point with Disney where they can, give us all these promises, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, they're probably going to mess up on this. They're going to backtrack on this. They're going to delay this by a month or two. There's always something with every new project. So I'm a bit skeptical. Now, I don't want to make this video too long, so I might make a whole nother video talking about the new projects that were released at Star Wars Celebrations. I just wanted to talk about, where Mandalorian is going and where Disney Star Wars is going right now and how it's just been a little bit disappointing so far. But anyway, guys, please let me know what you guys think of Mandalorian Season 3 so far. Do you think it's been a little bit disappointing? Has it met your expectations? Has it exceeded your expectations? Definitely let me know. And guys, if you haven't entered in that giveaway, please do so. There are many ways to get extra entries, so definitely keep an eye out. And you definitely sign up for that because there are 2 Amazon gift cards up for grabs for you guys. But anyway, guys, thank you all for watching the video. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys next time.